Hi children, welcome to our class. Today we are going to start a new chapter, water. See, what are the different uses of water? We are using water for different activities and all. So how much water we are spending per day? Have you ever thought of that? How much water we are using per day? See, if not, one day you from the morning after waking up from the morning you start counting how much water you are using for your individual activities. Using a mug you can measure that and you can write like in an A4 size paper you can write that for brushing 1 mug of water. Like so for bathing, measure that particular day you measure water you are using a mug and then count it and write fill that entire day of your activity how much water you are using. So after doing that you will get an idea about how much water will be used by an individual per day. Suppose in your family there are 4 members are there, one individual uses suppose 28 mugs of water we are using one day for your individual activities. Then for if it is 4 people then total will be 28 into 4 and some extra also for common activities and all we can that also we can count, so that we will get an idea about the usage of water for a family per day. Suppose if you are not getting proper water, if you are not getting enough water for our usage, one week, suppose imagine that you are getting only 1 week, one complete week, only 1 bucket of water per day, then what we will do? We have to reduce all our other activities and all, only extreme time of necessity we will use that water, right? So depending upon that availability of water, we have to reduce the wastage of water also. See, have you in different activities, we have seen that in different activities we are using water. Have you ever thought that any time water will be exhausted by our activities and all? Have you thought of such a thing, such a situation there, anywhere water is completely removed from our earth? No, right? Why you are not thinking so? Because we know that 2/3 of our earth is covered with the water, right? Everywhere we can see water, but that water which is there, usable water, amount of water which is usable, which can we use for different activities, which is available, which is fit for our different uses, very small quantity. Though 2/3 of the earth is covered with water, that water which is fit for our use is only a small quantity. Have you heard that sayings or that poem that water everywhere nor a drop of water to drink? That is a saying by Coleridge, a famous poet, and he is telling that a flight of sailors are there which is trapped there in the sea, middle of the sea there. Everywhere there we can see water, but a drop of water is not there to drink. Everywhere it is salty water, so we cannot drink that, right? So water is there everywhere, but that water which is needed for our use or fit for our use is very small quantity. And now we can see what are the different processes involved to maintain that total amount of water on earth constant. How that total amount of water on earth is becoming constant through different processes. Which are the different processes that we can see? Now for that first one, you take a small quantity, equal quantities of water in 2 beakers or 2 glasses and pour that water to a shady area, that soil in the shady area and also the soil there in the sunshine. Okay, and you observe what will happen to that water which you spilled there or which you poured there. What will happen to that water? After some time, are you able to see that water there? No, you will not be able to see water. Where does that water goes? Yes, we have studied in our one of the chapters that water is evaporated. How does the water is evaporated? Yes, by absorbing the heat energy from sun or energy from the surroundings, that water will get evaporated. And both the waters get evaporated, but which one evaporated faster? The water which was there in the sunshine, right? Because the temperature is more, the rate of evaporation will be more. But in shade also the evaporation take place, but in a smaller rate, lesser rate. Okay. So, evaporation, through the process of evaporation, water has disappeared from earth. From the earth, water has disappeared. Water has disappeared from the earth by the process of evaporation. And how does that evaporation take place? For that evaporation, that temperature or heat energy is required. Sometimes it will be gaining that heat energy from sun, or from the surroundings it will be absorbing the heat energy, and sometimes we are heating that liquid for the evaporation to happen. If we are heating that water, it will boil quickly and will go into the vapors, right? So, for that evaporation energy is required. So, evaporation is the first disappearing technique of water. So, through the process of evaporation, water can disappear from the earth. Okay. And is there any other way for the water to evaporate or disappear from the land? Yes, one more way is that is transpiration. Transpiration is another way of disappearing water from the earth. Transpiration. What is actually transpiration? Transpiration is plants will absorb water for their photosynthesis process, food preparation process, and various other activities. They will absorb water, and after the usage, excess water will be escape through the leaves. The water which is excess, that will be escape through the leaves through small openings present on that leaves, and that water is escaped as vapors, and that process is known as transpiration. Transpiration, water escapes from leaves. Water escapes from leaves. Water escapes from leaves through evaporation. That process is actually known as transpiration. So, that water is removed from the plants, it is disappeared from the plants by the process of transpiration, that is evaporation of water from the plants. So, these are the two disappearing techniques of water from the land. So, water from different sources, water sources, all these water will be water, we can see that water in different water sources such as sea, river, ocean, all these are different water sources, right? All these water sources contain water there, and using that heat energy of sun, that water will get evaporated. It is disappeared from the water sources as vapors by through two process. One is transpiration and the other one is evaporation. Okay, but it is a large quantity of water present there in water bodies, and also we will not notice that amount of water is which is escaping out as vapors. So, by these two processes, evaporation and transpiration, water is leaving that land as vapors. then what will happen to that water vapors? This water vapors will reach at high altitudes. At high altitudes, the water vapor will condense. A high altitude temperature will be very low there, and when it is temperature is less there, this water vapors will condense back to tiny drops of water. Okay, so water vapor is passing into the atmosphere. Water is passing into the atmosphere as water vapor by two processes, transpiration and evaporation, and then that water vapor will go reach that high altitudes, that the temperature is very low, and this water vapor will be condensed to tiny droplets of water, which we call it as tiny drops of water. These small tiny drops of water or droplets of water collect together. More than one drops of water will be clubbing together. They will join together and will make a big size, that we call it as clouds. So, clouds formation is happening there at a high altitude there by clubbing this water vapors together. Okay. So, after the formation of clouds, when the size of the clouds are very big, when they are rich in water, then what will happen? They will fall as rain. They will fall into the land as rain, and sometimes if the temperature of the atmosphere is very low there, that falling rainwater will freezes to form snow or hail. Okay. So, after the condensation, clouds will be formed there. When the clouds are heavy, they will come down as rain. That process we can call it as precipitation. Okay. So, during that precipitation, that water will come back to the earth as rain water, and sometimes that water freezes to form snow or hail. This cyclic process of water is actually known as water cycle. We can see water cycle. Water cycle. Okay, initially what is happening? Water is going as water vapor. Water is going as water vapor from the different sources of water. Water is going as sources of water. Water is going as the water vapor, and that by the two process water is going as water vapor, that is transpiration and evaporation. Okay, you have studied in separation chapter, when sea water is getting evaporated there, only clean water will go and salt will remain there, right? So, from everywhere evaporation is happening, only clean water will go as vapor. So, through the process of transpiration and evaporation, water is from different sources, water is going as water vapor. At high altitudes, this water vapor condenses, to form clouds. Water vapor condenses to form clouds. Okay, and then when this clouds are very heavy, they will fall as rain. And this process is called precipitation. Sometimes this rain water will freezes to form rainwater. Sometimes it will freezes to form hail or snow. Hail or snow. That time also it is known as precipitation. Hail or snow will be produced from when this rainwater is falling down. If the temperature of the atmosphere is very low, that time this will freeze to form hail or snow, or otherwise it will come again as water there. Okay, so this water will flow through the land and reaches back to the water sources again. So this is a cyclic process. Water from the sources going as vapors and condenses to form clouds there, and then clouds are falling as rain through the process of precipitation, and this when the rain water flows through the surface of the land, finally reaches again back the water sources. This cyclic process of transformation of water from one place to another, that is actually known as water cycle. I will define that water cycle. Water cycle is the constant circulation of water from the atmosphere, from the earth to the atmosphere. Water cycle we can define it as constant circulation of water from land, constant circulation of water from land to atmosphere and again from the atmosphere back to the land. Okay, and from the atmosphere back again to the land. That constant circulation, initially from the land it is going as vapors to the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere it is coming back to the land as rain. That is actually known as, this constant circulation of water is actually known as water cycle. So in this water cycle, different terms you have to keep it in your memory, or we have to use the evaporation terms. These terms should be when you are explaining that water cycle, the evaporation, transpiration should be the, then condensation should be the, then precipitation also should be there. We have to use, when you are explaining, answering that question, we have to use these terms, precipitation. So, if we are explaining that circulation of water using all these terms, we can see that is actually water cycle. Okay, hope you understood water cycle. It is the constant circulation of water from the land to the atmosphere as vapors, and from the atmosphere back to the land as water. That constant circulation is known as water cycle, and when it is cycling that water, it is undergoing through different processes. Hope this much is clear to you. Thank you.